What's going on, everyone? It's Still Spectre here, bringing you what is possibly my first ever recorded Wi-Fi battle on this channel. Today, we're going to be using Brock's best team from the main series games in competitive Wi-Fi battles to see just how well it performs in a real competitive environment, and try to complete the challenge of getting a win with it. If you haven't seen the True Power episode where we actually figured out what Brock's best team is, I'd highly recommend watching that before seeing these battles so you can find out exactly how we established what Brock's top 6 Pokemon are, and look at his evolution in the main series games. The video will appear right now in the info card at the top of the screen, so just click it and it'll take you there right away. For those who have seen it, since this is the first Wi-Fi episode we're doing for this series, let's quickly take a look at the rules we'll be playing by. First off, the Pokemon on the team can only use moves that they have used at some point in one of Brock's teams in the main series games. Secondly, they can only use items that Brock has used on them. However, if one of his Pokemon has never used an item and he has an extra item on a different Pokemon that is not on his best team, we can use that since we know that he obviously has access to that item. Third, since we don't know what Brock's Pokemon's IVs and EVs are, they can be set to anything within the legal range for competitive battling. And finally, the battling tier will be determined based on Brock's highest tier Pokemon. So for instance, since he has a Tyranitar, we must battle in the Overused or OU tier. But without any further ado, let's hop into our first battle. Alright guys, here we go. It's time to use Brock's best possible team in a competitive battle. I've got a battle here against a user named Stoss. I'm going to send out my Rampardos first. I figured this would be the best idea for a lead for Brock's team. And of course, he's going to send out a Greninja. Wouldn't you know it? Perfect matchup, right? Absolutely perfect. So, of course, we've got our Mold Breaker. I don't know what that does. It does nothing. And I figured, you know what? Greninja's probably going to take us out, but I don't have anything that I can really switch into a Greninja, given that, you know, Brock's team is all rock types. So I figured I'd stay in just in case I can get an attack off, because I know if I do get an attack off, that Greninja's going down, because Greninja's defense is pretty darn low. Of course, we got the Citrus Berry, restoring our health after he goes for the Water Shuriken, which I was surprised we actually survived, and we do magically get off the Stone Edge, take it with the Greninja, which, hey, that's more than I can ask for Rampardos. Rampardos is probably the worst member of Brock's team, so, hey, I was happy. But next, oh boy, he sends out a Superior, and, right away, I was like, oh my god, this thing's going to come in with the Leaf Storm and get that contrary special attack bonus, which, of course, he does. And at this point, I'm kind of terrified, because I have very little to deal with grass types in general. If you look at Brock's team, it's all rock or water types, which, or rock and water types, I should say. But thankfully, we do have Aerodactyl. And at this point, you'll probably see Aerodactyl comes in clutch for sure. He's also one of the fastest Pokemon that Brock has, or the fastest Pokemon that Brock has, actually, which helps a lot, and he has some type coverage. So I was actually going for the Fire Fang here on the Superior. I think he thought I was going to use the Ice Fang, which is why he's sending the Excadrill, but at this point he's in a very bad position, because we've of course got Fire Fang, which he didn't know. It's going to be super effective against the Excadrill, so he decides to switch out. I go with the Fire Fang on Staraptor, and at this point I'm really hoping for the burn. But it doesn't happen, of course, and I actually have Thunder Fang on this Aerodactyl as well, which I don't think he knew. Of course, he thought we had Ice Fang, but no, we have Thunder Fang. He's going to go for the close combat, does a surprising amount actually on the Aerodactyl, and then our Thunder Fang misses. Are you kidding me? Oh, this was not good. This was not good at all. So he's going to outspeed me. I think he's Choice Scarfed. He has to be, because Aerodactyl is really, really fast, and that thing outspeeds us. So, yep, he's going to take out our Aerodactyl, which is we really need on this team. So I'm going to send out my Kabutops, and here I figured, you know what? I have a Focus Sash on this thing. Brock has a Focus Sash, I should say. I'm going to let him take me down. I'm going to go for the Swords Dance, forgetting about the Superior. I don't know why. I just got, I don't know, all hyped up. You know, sometimes you get kind of in the mood in the battle. And we're going to be left with 1 HP. I actually go for the Sword Dance here, which might not have been the best idea, but I figured I could go for the Aqua Jet after and take that Staraptor out, especially after those defense drops from the close combats he's been using. So there goes the Swords Dance. I don't know what I was thinking, and I decided to go for the Aqua Jet, outspeed that thing with priority. Which is one good thing that Brock has on his team, is actually some priority moves, which is good for the slower Pokemon that he has for sure. Although Kabutops isn't too bad. It's got like a base speed of 80 or something like that. He's, of course, going to send out the Superior, and I'm going to be like, oh, jeez. I forgot. I was thinking about the rest of his team. I don't know why. But I just decided to go for the Aqua Jet, because we're only at 1 HP anyway. We're going to get killed very, very quickly. So he's going to go for the Giga Drain and finish that Kabutops off. And at this point, I'm like, oh, gosh. I don't have Aerodactyl. I don't have Kabutops. How am I going to deal with this Superior? And I decided to actually go for Tyranitar, because this Tyranitar has an interesting build. It's got 160 EVs in HP, 252 in attack, 48 in defense, and 48 in special defense. So it's actually a pretty bulky Tyranitar overall. No investment in speed at all. I figured we might as well, you know what, if Brock's team is slow, we might as well just, you know, make use of it and make it as defensive as possible. So he's going to go for the Leaf Storm, and it actually doesn't even take the Tyranitar to half, which was pretty funny. And I went for the Ice Punch thinking it would kill, but we do get the Freeze, which, kind of saved me, I'm not going to lie, because he's now, you know, he's a very fast Pokemon relative to our team, and he's got the special attack boost, but we did get the Freeze off with the Ice Punch, which I thought would kill. That was close. So we ended up taking out the Superior with the Tyranitar, and at this point I'm like, wow, okay, we've actually kind of got a chance here, and Brock's team is, I'm going to say, probably one of the most challenging to actually, you know, pull off a good battle with, since it has so many common weaknesses, and it's very slow overall. But of course, he's going to send out his Excadrill with the Earthquake, and that is going to take out Tyranitar. Tyranitar, you know what? He took out the main threat that I had with this team, so I'm happy in his performance. I really am. So here, I figured I'd go for the Omastar, because anything that he has is not really going to take this Omastar out. But then I saw him starting to do this, and whenever you see this, you know something's going down. So he's got his Z-move. I think it's the Steel-type one. I can't remember the exact name. We'll see it in a moment. But, oh, Corkscrew Crash. That was it. And I was like, oh my goodness gracious. I hope Omastar can live this, because he does have high defense. But that animation alone, I was like, oh god, what is happening? But we do survive it, and I go for the Hydro Pump, and it misses. Thankfully, my opponent is a very, very nice guy, and he's, you know, he went for the Rapid Spin. I think he was just giving me that move, because now we've had two major misses. The Thunderfang on the Aerodactyl, and now the Hydro Pump. So he lets me get off the Earth Power, which I probably should have gone for initially. I just wasn't sure if it would kill. So we do take out the Excadrill. Props to my opponent for letting that happen. Because that was two very unfortunate misses. And now he comes in with the Lopunny, and I gotta be honest, I was like, okay, this battle's over, because he has high jump kick. But I was hoping that he'd miss it, which would really make my day and make this battle, you know, possible to pull off. He's going to go for the Fake Out, actually. I don't quite know why. I guess it makes sense, you know, just get some damage off, get some guaranteed priority damage off in the first place, and then go for the high jump kick afterwards, which he does do. And that's going to take out the Omastar very, very easily. So at this point, all we have left is our Rhyperior. And it's looking like the battle's pretty much over unless he misses the high jump kick. But yeah, Rhyperior actually has 0 investment in defense. He's got 52 HP, 252 attack, and 204 special defense. I figured Rhyperior might be able to actually, you know what, kind of tank some special moves. But of course, we're facing a Lopunny here. He's going to go for the high jump kick. We do actually survive it. And here I'm like, okay, Rhyperior's Earthquake, because we can't use Stone Edge, even though it's a more powerful move. Lopunny will, of course, resist it. So I go for the Earthquake, almost takes him out. And at this point, our last hope is him missing the the high jump kick, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen. And our Rhyperior is going to get taken out because he's going to use the Ice Punch, which, of course, is still super effective. And that's going to take us out. And there's battle number 1, guys. We did not get a win on battle number 1. But you know what? I was like, you know what? The whole challenge of these videos, these Wi-Fi videos with the trainer's Pokemon is to try and get a win. So I was like, you know what? Let's rematch. I asked the guy if he had a different team. He said he did, and he had a team that he was actually testing out, which I thought was perfect because, you know, it's not like a solid team that he has. He's just kind of testing it out, and I figured, you know what? Maybe we'll be able to pull off a win this time. So second battle number 2. I'm leading off with the Rampardos again, and this time I'm like, okay, I think Stealth Rocks would have been really, really useful in the last battle, so let's get him off today. Let's get him off this time. And he's going to send out his Seismitoad. Again, a terrible matchup for us. But I figured Rampardos can survive possibly anything he throws at us and at least get off the Stealth Rock. That's the main thing that I want to do with Rampardos. And of course, Rampardos does not, I should note, does not have Stealth Rock on Brock's actual team. Instead, he has Avalanche. So this is the only move that I put on one of the Pokemon. Kind of broke the rules here that Brock didn't have. But Stealth Rock is very easy to get on Rampardos, so I figured Brock could do it anyway. He actually has Avalanche, which is almost impossible to get on Rampardos nowadays, so I figured, you know what, we'll just put Stealth Rock off. That's the one thing that I broke the rules for. So he's going to go for the Scald, and he gets off the burn, and this was very, very crucial, because Earthquake would have actually probably done about half damage on this Seismitoad, almost. Probably, yeah, probably right about half damage, and he got the burn off, so he's going to cut our attack in two, which is very, very rough. He's going to get up his own Stealth Rock, and of course he has the leftovers, which is very, very rough. So at this point, I'm like, okay, Rampardos is burned, very low health. We might as well just get some more damage off on the Seismitoad, because it's a relatively big threat to our team. And yeah, we're going to get him to a little over half, and then he's going to have leftover recovery. So overall, not the best performance, but we did get the Stealth Rock off, and that's the main thing that Rampardos is for, because this thing, you know, has high attack, but it's other than that, it's kind of weak, to be honest with you. So yeah, his Seismitoad is looking pretty good at this point. We do have the Stealth Rock up, which I'm happy about, because we take all we can get when we're battling with Brock's team here. So I decided to go into the Kabutops, and I figured Kabutops can actually do something here, because I don't think Seismitoad could do a whole lot, and even if he had like Earth Power or something like that, I think we would survive it. And he actually decides to switch out here, which I think was a mistake on his part. I think this was a crucial part of the battle. He actually goes into his Lycanroc, and I decided to go for the Swords Dance, because I figured his Seismitoad wouldn't be able to kill us. And I go for the Aqua Jet, outspeeding his Lycanroc, which is a really big deal. It takes it out in one hit, so at this point, Kabutops is looking pretty darn good. And again, it has that 80 base speed, so it's actually one of the faster Pokemon we have on this team. And he's going to send out his Seismitoad, and I figured, you know what, I think we actually have X-Scissor on this Kabutops from Brock's choice. And it actually came into use here, which I was kind of surprised about, because it does take out the Seismitoad after that Swords Dance, which is, you know, that's amazing. I'm happy. Kabutops has taken out 2 Pokemon so far, which is really, really good. And now he goes out with the Dragonite. And at this point, I'm like, okay, the Dragonite is going to outspeed us with something. He might have Earthquake or Thunder Punch, something super effective against us. Turns out Kabutops actually outspeeds him. Kabutops does have full investment in speed, and apparently Dragonite's base speed is the same as Kabutops. They're both 80, so Kabutops now takes out 3 in a row, and I'm really happy. But then he sends out this thing. He sends out the Amoonguss, and I'm very scared at this point. We don't want to deal with a grass type at all on this team. So I do damage him to a little bit less than half, but then he goes for Spore, which I kind of should have anticipated, but there's not much I can do here, because anything I have is weak to grass. The Aerodactyl's gone. Anything I have is weak to grass. Actually, no, hold on. We still have the Aerodactyl. Yeah, we still have the Aerodactyl, but Kabutops is asleep, and I'm like, oh god, we don't want to switch into anything really, do we? So he goes for the Giga Drain. I'm just going to let him have it. That's the 4 times effective move, but at least I have kind of priority to switch in the Aerodactyl now, which I figure will do a very, very good job against the Amoonguss. So he's going to get his leftovers recovery, and I'm going to send in that Aerodactyl real fast. Try and kind of, you know, turn the tides here, because Amoonguss is a huge, huge threat to my team. So I'm going to go immediately and try and go for the Fire Fang, which is actually the only super effective move I have on this Aerodactyl, because Brock never put a flying move on his freaking Aerodactyl. I don't know why. He has no flying moves. Even something like Wing Attack would be great. Get the stab, get that physical move, but no. So I go for the Fire Fang, and he switches into his Luxray, which was an interesting choice, I think, but he did get the burn. We got the burn off on the Fire Fang, which I was extremely happy for, but we didn't really need it in the end, because Aerodactyl does have Earthquake. Thank you, Brock, for putting that on there. And it does take out the Luxray, which I'm very, very happy about. So we're looking to be in a pretty good position. It's only this Amoonguss that we have to really, really worry about. And he's actually going to send in his Incineroar at this point to try and lower my Aerodactyl's attack with Intimidate, which you know what? I can respect that decision. It's a pretty good decision, to be honest. So now our Aerodactyl's kind of hindered by that Intimidate, and I'm wondering exactly what I should do here, and I'm like, you know what? I think I should just go for the Rock Slide, because we should outspeed. He does have Fake Out. Again, we got the Fake Out flinch, but he does have pretty good speed. So I figured we could just go for the Rock Slide, try and, you know, if not finish him off because of the Intimidate, we can at least maybe flinch him. But he switches out again into the Amoonguss, so he's playing some weird games here. The Amoonguss is, of course, full health, and then the Stealth Rock's going to do a little damage. Rock Slide itself will not do much at all on the Amoonguss, but at least, again, now we have the priority to actually get a Fire Fang off. But, of course, that Intimidate is going to kind of serve as a big problem. You'll see in a sec. This Fire Fang does absolutely nothing to this Amoonguss. Like, hello? What? But we do get the burn off again. Very lucky on our part. And that's at least going to hinder that Amoonguss a little bit and basically kind of nullifies its leftovers. Because any leftovers recovery that it does get, the burn is just going to take away right away. So, I mean, we're not in a terrible position here. Of course, we've got our Aerodactyl asleep from the Spore again, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I'm kind of wondering what he's going to do here. He goes for the Giga Drain. It actually does quite a reasonable amount of damage, so he's getting both Giga Drain and Leftover, and then just the burn kind of nullifies that Leftover. So we're in a pretty bad position here. I think this is probably going to be the end of the Aerodactyl, unfortunately, coming in with that Giga Drain from the Amoonguss, but I do have a plan in my back pocket. I did decide to... Oh, actually, we survive on 1 HP. I forgot about this. We survive on 1 HP. Very lucky for us, although it doesn't really do a whole lot, because I think Aerodactyl stays asleep the next turn. Had he woken up, that would have been really good. But, oh no, he does wake up, and we get the Fire Fang off. Okay, so that's good. We get a little bit more damage, but again, that Intimidate is not helping us very much. And he's going to go for the Sludge Bomb to finish off our Aerodactyl. Overall, Aerodactyl, I think, did a pretty good job. Not as amazing as, like, Kabutops, but hey, Aerodactyl's a really necessary Pokemon on this team, for sure, to get some extra needed speed. And now I'm like, okay, you know what? We've got this super bulky Tyranitar. I'm going to send this thing in, get the Sandstream going, even more residual damage on that Amoonguss. I'm throwing everything I have at this thing. And luckily, Brock's Tyranitar actually does have Ice Punch, which he probably wasn't anticipating at all. We're going to get the Ice Punch off, and that is going to finish off the Amoonguss finally. Oh my goodness, that thing was so annoying to try and deal with. And I think he's down to 1 Pokemon left now, which is, of course, his Incineroar. He's going to send that thing in, and it is going to intimidate our Tyranitar somehow. I don't get it. I don't think Tyranitar would be threatened by that thing in real life, but the Stealth Rocks are going to do some serious damage to that Incineroar. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I think we can probably take this thing out, maybe with a Stone Edge. But he does go for the Fake Out, get some damage on the Tyranitar again. I mean, why not? Why not try? Why not try and do it? And he's going to get hurt by the Sandstorm a little bit more, which brings him below half. And at this point, I'm like, okay, even with the Intimidate, a Stone Edge is going to take him out. This thing has full investment in attack. So there we go, guys. We actually got a win with Brock's team. I can't believe it, to be honest with you. This was a really hard team to work with. Very slow. Super common weaknesses like grass and water and all that. At least, you know, Omastar and Kabutops help out with the water weakness a bit. But overall, just a very tough team to work with. And you know what? We pulled it off. So you know what? Props to Brock. He's got a decent team, I'll say that. But I hope you guys did enjoy this part of the True Power series. This is going to be the end for Brock. And next week, we are going to be moving on to a new trainer entirely, where we'll try and figure out their team. So stay tuned for that. If you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a like and comment down below letting me know what you thought of the battle, what you thought of Brock's team overall. Did it surprise you? Was it better than you thought it might be, or worse than you thought it might be? And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time for another episode of True Power.